So, I made a review on Battlerite when I first returned to YouTube, and I had quite a bit of experience on the game, so I made this review hoping it would be one of my bigger videos, and it happens to be my most successful video since returning to YouTube. That just means a lot to me, and I really couldn't thank you guys enough, but I actually haven't played Battlerite since making that video, and if you check the bottom of the description, I actually made that video in September of 2020, not January 2021. Just to make things clear. Right now I'm recording this video in mid to late October of 2021, and as you can see on the screen, I haven't played Battlerite in about a year, but I thought it's time I changed that. I decided to play my two most classic characters and the ones you actually see in the thumbnail, Rook and Jade. I'm gonna talk about my experience, the current state of the game, the player count, what the developers are up to, and just how I feel about Battlerite up to this point. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. This first game you're watching is my actual first game in over a year. I had to go with my main man Rook. He's just a classic to me and he's my most played champion by far. It's something about his simplistic aggressive playstyle that I love so much, and that you can heal yourself. But I'm sure as you can tell by now, I'm not the most on point. Like, I can tell that my sensitivity or DPI is higher than it should be, but I didn't care that much because I was only playing a couple games. But I didn't do that bad, maybe below average, especially for someone with 500 hours, but at least I got carried in my second game. You'll find out in a minute. Either way, I still had a good time returning to one of my favorite games, whether I did good or bad, as long as I don't get wrecked. Luckily, both of my games weren't that sweaty. I just knew I had to get warmed up and remember everything. But a lot of it was just muscle memory, and I was actually a little surprised by how much I remembered, like all of the champions and their abilities, and even by how much fun I was having. Like, I always remember Battlerite as a good, unique game, but it really hit me playing the game myself after a while. It's almost like riding a bike for the first time since you were a little kid. It was just a beautiful moment. Man, they really should have continued to update this game. Even without updates, it can still be fun or at least feel good and satisfying to play. Like, if they even added just cosmetics every month or so, people would still complain, but I don't think it'd be a bad idea because the developers would still be making money and it would probably have kept the player base a little bit longer. Their last content update was in October of 2019, but they consistently had discounts and sales until February of 2020 and a final one in June. But as you can see, the player count slowly went up after that final content update and as the sales were going on. I don't know if that's a coincidence or if the player count went up for another reason, but I think it's little things like sales, new cosmetics, and even hotfixes that make a game feel less dead. Maybe almost dead, but not entirely. Speaking of things like the player count, it seems like 200 to 300 people is the average amount, at least when I played. Obviously, there's going to be less and less players over time the way things are going, but there was actually a small spike in players back in April with nearly 3,000 players, which was the most people on this game since the beginning of 2019. I don't know why there was a random little flood of players for a few months, probably because of some YouTuber or streamer or something, but we're already back down to the sad normal numbers that we're used to. It's unfortunate because this game is on the decline, and who knows how long it'll be until you can't even find a match from lack of players. Well, if you're still playing this game, at least the queue times aren't bad. I found these 2 matches instantly, and it kinda blows my mind when a game with a small player base can find matches so quickly. There's AAA games with tons of players that still have long queue times, and I'm just like, what? So if you still play Battlerite consistently, at least you have that going for you. And Battlerite is just simply a fun game. I miss the good old days, but it's still a fun time. I wish I had the motivation to play daily like I used to. Realistically, I would only be able to do that if I had a friend to play with, but for me, that's mostly in the past. But even by myself, I had intense, heart-pounding moments just in the 2 games I played. I would still recommend this game for past players who have a decent amount of experience or just miss this game. As for newer players, I say it's still worth a try, especially if this looks like your type of game. Just expect a good ass whooping from the pros. As long as you're aware of the learning curve and the state that the game is in, then hey, go for it. I think the ranked mode is still on the same season from over a year ago, so at least existing players are on the same rank, and new players have all the time in the world. Okay, I say that like it's a good thing, but it's one of the things that make Battlerite feel like it's a shell of its former self. Unless you're new or play with a friend, this game feels like a ghost town, like I wish there was an update every now and then. But do not fear, as Stunlock Studios announced a new game back in May called V Rising, a vampire survival open world MMO type of game? Huh? I'm sure some of you heard about this a while ago, but to be honest, this does not have me hyped at all. Obviously it's very different than Battlerite, but you can tell that it's made by the same developers with the camera angle, and I'm sure the combat is very satisfying like in Battlerite. But if I'm being real, this type of game just doesn't excite me. Don't get me wrong though, I hope the best for this game and I hope everything goes well. I even think it could be a good fun game. I just don't see me playing it by myself, and I kinda doubt any of my friends would want to play it. But I don't want to talk about this game too much because it's not even out yet and these are just my initial opinions. It's just to let you know that the developers of Battlerite aren't completely gone, but moved on from Battlerite and are working on a new game. But I think that's about everything I wanted to say. I just wanted to reminisce and play Battlerite after a year to follow up on that 500-hour review. I'll even show you my profile and stats because I think I forgot to do that in the review. Man, there's a few things I wish I did better in that video. Mostly the commentary, but hey, still working on it. But most importantly, it looks clean as hell leaving this game at exactly 500 hours. I would have been pissed if it went to 501. But to sum it up, Battlerite is still a fun game with a dark past. Like, you might have a good time, but you'll have constant PTSD about the past and what this game could have been. But I still recommend it. Anyway, I hope you guys still enjoyed the video. It's always weird talking about Battlerite after that final content update and everything we've been through. Let's just be grateful you even have the option to play this game and that the servers are still up. One day you won't even have that. It's just a matter of time until the lobbies are filled with toxic players, or until Battlerite is completely gone. Well, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. I don't mean to end it on a bad page, but I gotta keep it real with you guys. Things are not getting better for Battlerite, but enjoy it while you can. I hope you guys enjoyed my little return to Battlerite, so a rating would be appreciated. If you want to stay up to date with my content, I play a bunch of random games which helps you find underrated games like Battlerite, so don't forget to subscribe. Drop a comment telling me your current opinions on Battlerite, or if any of you still continue to play it, or even still look for content. I'd really like to know. And yeah, guys, it's been a hell of a ride with Battlerite. I wish things would have gone better, but let's celebrate Battlerite's life, not its death. Man, I had to hold back some tears recording this one. But check on the screen for some other videos, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.